Coming up on this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society, Nintendo Directs are missing and presumed dead. It's dangerous to go alone, so the Nintendo Cartridge Society goes with you. Welcome to Nintendo Cartridge Society. My name is Patrick Ellers, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Mark Mitchell. We've got a good show for you today. We are going to be talking about the news from the week, including the cancellation of EVO and the announcement of Pokemon Go Fest 2020. And then on Thursday, we are going to be ranking all of the doctors in Dr. Mario World. But in the meantime, Mark, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. You know, Patrick, this past week I finally broke down because look, my husband had helped me like cut the sides of my hair a couple of times since March, since we've just been at home, and so but the top was just getting longer and longer and longer the longer it had been. And so finally I broke down and he offered to help, but I was like, I've got to master this. And so I cut the top of my hair with scissors myself, and I think it looks okay for video chats. Like, I think like with like video chat resolution, it works fine.
I mean, I will have you know that the only reason that my hair looks like anything instead of like a crazy like 1970s puffball is that I am putting product in it and just like swooping it up over my face, like above my face. Otherwise, I look ridiculous because I've cut my hair now several times. Yes, like you say, over video chat, like I think we're both looking good.
We are both looking like, have no fear, listener. We are both looking good.
Right. Just no one upgrade to high definition or 4K. Oh, my God. Oh, Mark, my copy of Sonic Forces. This is maybe the first time ever I don't have a good transition into talking about the Sonic Forces borrowing program. And by good, I mean I don't.
Which in and of itself is a good transition of its own.
That's right. The program, of course, is perfect. It involves you borrowing my copy of Sonic Forces for the Nintendo Switch. All you got to do is email us at nintendocartridgesociety@gmail.com and send along a mailing address. And then I mail the Sonic Forces to that address. You play it for as long as you want. You send it back. That's how it goes. Mark, we have very little business to discuss up front these days.
It's like both of our new haircuts, just very like short and to the point.
Oh, my hair is like anything but
Whoa,
short.
that is long.
I just ran my fingers through it and revealed my hairy shame to Mark. Which sounds like something you should not do to your friend. All right, let's get into what we've been playing this week. Mark, I can see that you are super buff, so I can only assume that you continue to play Ring Fit Adventure.
That's right. Nobody asked any questions. That is also true, just like my haircut. Yes, although I have to admit, and I think maybe this, like, what you've been playing, like, check-ins will be good because it'll be keeping us honest. But, like, this week, I didn't keep up with my every other day promise like I hoped to.
Mark. For shame. No, it's okay. I had been like my schedule, like as I set it, because you can set little reminders on the thing, and it's cool. Like it'll remind you even when you have it turned off. Like the right Joy-Con will start like buzzing, and it'll be any of the Joy-Con that are connected to it. So like the one in the dock will start buzzing. The other one that's like somewhere else in the house will start buzzing. So I had those set for Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. I had done Tuesday, I had done Thursday, Saturday rolled around, and let me tell you what, Saturday was Saturday. It was the 4th of July. I couldn't do Ring Fit Adventure. I was drinking. So I took Saturday and then also Sunday off of it, and so today I got back on, and so it'll be. I think I'm going to do today, Wednesday, Friday. That's my
Mm-hmm.
goal. But we'll see.
Have you done the like offline mode thing where you just like put the Joy-Con into the ring, push in on the analog stick for a little bit, and then it like turns on basically without turning on your entire system, and it just like you can be sitting on the couch watching TV and like squeezing it, and it like counts, and if you do up to like 500 it gives you some sort of like gift, which I don't understand that part yet, but that is actually pretty cool that you can there's also like this little like offline mode thing.
Yeah, it's a multitask mode, I believe, is what it's called. Yeah, no, I've not messed around with that yet. Within the game itself, I've been getting to the like the little mini games,
Mm-hmm.
which feel like they're fun enough, but they feel like a weird interruption to my like a genuinely taxing exercise. When it's like, okay, now do these like really weak squats to like jump and collect coins. Where it's like, okay, this is worlds easier than the thing you make me do all the time in the rest of the game.
Have you done the rhythm game in like the on the home section? So instead of choosing adventure, you can do like the rhythm game.
Yeah.
That one
Uh,
also I have found to be like not really very fun.
It's also not really a rhythm game, because it's a lot of just like make sure you're in the right position by the right time, which doesn't really like you can get there early and it's usually fine. Like you're not gonna be penalized. Tell you what though, that's bad rhythm. you know. It's, so yeah, I feel like that's a cute feature, but not one that I'm really gonna take too much advantage of.
Yeah, completely.
Animal Crossing New Horizons, the summer update #1, introducing swimming to the island. I love this. I love just another set of sea creatures, another set of things to collect and donate to Blathers. It's been an absolute delight. Getting a scallop and having Pascal swim over to me and like offer me a new recipe, and then watching him swim away on his back is adorable. And you can like swim next to him for a while. It's great. I know you've been off Animal Crossing for a while, but this is a fun update that like adds, I'm not going to say depth, but like it adds another list of things to accomplish, and feels like fun and new and vital. And I'm really happy with it.
Yeah, it'll be cool to see what the August update brings as well.
Totally. And then the September update and the October update.
I've still been playing the Outer Worlds, and I'm on the home stretch. I'm pretty sure I'm like really into the end game. So I think I don't have very much further to go. So I'll save any observations I have till I've like finished the game. But I am still really enjoying the experience.
Cool. I will hold all of my questions about it until you have completed it. Mark, you're going to get it done probably before Paper Mario comes out.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. And I think it'll take me about 30 hours. And I have to go back and see how long I put into Fire Emblem Three Houses, because like when I think of Fire Emblem Three Houses, I think of like that I put a lot of time into that game. And maybe just my concept of time is more fluid now with everything that's going on.
I mean, gotta be true.
But like it doesn't feel like I've put as much time into the Outer Worlds, but I'm like right up at that like 30-hour and I think I genuinely can't remember if I just said this 30 seconds ago that I put like 35 hours into Fire Emblem.
Oh, okay. I was wondering where that was going. Because I feel like most people's playthroughs of Fire Emblem end up being closer to like 50 or 60 hours.
Well, and I think that's the benefit of me just like cruising through a lot of those early battles where I was just like auto battle, like whatever. Yeah, I think that is what made it a little more compressed.
I went back to Pocket Rumble the other day, just sort of looking for something to kill time with on Switch. And Pocket Rumble is of course the one-on-one fighter that is a new game, came out in 2017 originally, and then on Switch in 2018, which looks like it is a Neo Geo Pocket fighting game, and it is all based on like 2-button combat. There's a hard attack and a light attack, and that's basically it. Um, and I've liked this game in the past, but like I got into a real groove of like just fighting like wave after wave of computer opponents with this character June, who is a like ghost, and so like all of her abilities are like real zoning focused. So it's about just like controlling the board and like throwing fireballs and stuff like that. Um, and so I was like, okay, I'm gonna bring this online. I'm gonna see like how I do online. Turns out no one's playing this game online anymore. So like I went into an online lobby and waited. And you can do like other fights while you wait. And I was doing just like fights against the computer for like half an hour. I fought one human being, mopped the floor with him, and then went back to fighting computer controlled opponents. So either I'm very good at Pocket Rumble or no one is playing Pocket Rumble.
Pocket Rumble, it does not have cross play, right? Like you're only playing against other people on Switch.
I think that's probably right. Yeah, and it's not on everything. Like it's on Steam, but I don't think it's available on like PlayStation or Xbox or like the other big home consoles. But yeah, it would be improved by having crossplay. But I mean I don't know that there's a community there to support it anymore anyway. So
right, yeah. And then of course this last weekend was Tetris 99 Tetris Maximus event with a Xenoblade Chronicles Enhanced Edition, Deluxe Edition. What did they call it? Enhanced Edition, right?
No, it's Definitive
Edition, of course.
There we go.
Like a Xenoblade Chronicles theme, which was cool, but I turned the music off and was listening to something else because not that the music was bad, but like I need my Tetris 99 to be like amped. And it was another one where it was kind of
too chill.
It was chill, like it was nice, it was like thoughtful, but that's not what I need from like Tetris 99.
I also found the sound effects to be a little soft, so that like when you dropped a block, there was like a sound effect of it hitting, right, and like landing, but like the attack on it wasn't like as hard as I'm used to hearing, so that like it almost sounded to me like it was landing a split second after it landed, and so it took away that sort of like tactile feeling of playing Tetris, which is precisely my complaint with the combat in Xenoblade Chronicles is that it doesn't feel like you're actually connecting. So
in
I
that
guess,
way, it's like very, very authentic to the experience.
I also think that the Shulk is like on the right side of the screen, and he's just sort of like staring right down the barrel of the camera, and he has got a doofy smile on his face. He looks weird in this theme. Were you able to unlock the theme, Mark?
I was, yeah. So in the previous theme, the Animal Crossing one, I actually did surprisingly well. Like it didn't take me that long. I think generally it takes me about an hour to unlock them. The Animal Crossing one took me about 30 minutes, like half the time. But then, so I was like, oh man, like I must be getting better. No, not the case. The Xenoblade one also took me like about an hour because I get like I get a lot of 10 points because I get above 50 and then a couple of 15 thrown in there. But yeah, for whatever reason with Animal Crossing, I was like getting like 20 points or in like the top 10 a couple of times. That helps a lot. Yeah. But you, how did it go for you?
It went great for me. My first game out, I got first place, got the 100 points, turned it off.
That's amazing.
All right, so that's what we've been playing this week. Let's get into the new releases and what we might be playing next week.
Today, Tuesday, July 7th, Catherine Full Body is released on Switch. This is okay, here we go. Enhanced edition. I mean, I guess it's the full body edition. Basically, it's like a enhanced edition of the Atlas puzzle game that came out for the PS3. Man, I wonder, do you think it was like 10 years ago that Catherine first came out?
Catherine came out when I was living in Chicago, but after I was living with my friends Andrew and Taylor, so probably about 10 years. Yeah, maybe like 8. maybe 8 years. Does that make sense? Could it be a 2012 game, something like
I
that?
would believe that, but it's a kind of like unique, I would say, for Atlas games. It's a puzzle game with like a like kind of messed up story for what from what I can gather.
Yeah, so I mean, it is very much like an Atlas game in one regard, in that it is very story based and like choice based. The story of the game is that you are a dude who goes out drinking all the time, has a girlfriend named Catherine, gets seduced by a different woman named Catherine, and spend the whole game basically. It's an infidelity simulator, is what it is, and you have to like juggle your girlfriend and your wife, and there is yet another girlfriend, a third girlfriend in the full body edition. And like it's all about how your character is like a piece of garbage, and like an awful dude who can't take any control over his life. And then what happens at nighttime, when you fall asleep, is that's when the puzzles happen, and it's a sort of like almost Cubert like climbing block puzzle sort of thing that you have to do, where you're like rotating blocks and pulling them and like jumping up. And it's the like wall between the gameplay and the story is so severe that like you can get to a point where you're like, these puzzles are too hard, I can't do them anymore, but I just want to know like what happens in the story. And at that point you just go to YouTube and look up whatever ending you were headed towards. But I really enjoyed this game when it came out originally on the PS3, and I believe at some point I'm going to pick up Catherine Full Body. I expect it'll go on sale at some point in the next couple months, and that's probably when I'll do it. But I like this game a lot, and will most likely be getting it.
And then on Thursday, Crosscode is released on the Switch eShop.
Yeah, so Crosscode was it's been out on Steam for a little bit, but it's like a Secret of Mana-esque like action RPG. I've seen that some reviews that the Switch port doesn't run super great, but the reviews for the original are pretty good, and that is my kind of game. But maybe pick it up on another platform.
And then on Friday, July 10th, A Deadly Premonition 2, A Blessing in Disguise is released, and Bloodstained Curse of the Moon 2 is released on the Switch eShop.
Now, I think we agree Bloodstained Curse of the Moon 2 must play, right?
Yeah, I'm excited for it.
I mean, we have not played it yet, so I guess it is really just a must play for you and for I. I don't know that we're recommending it. Although the first one was great. Really just an 8-bit Castlevania-like game, super fun, and this one has couch co-op. Are you going to make your husband play with you?
I don't. No, I'm not going to. I don't think he would like it. But what do I know? Because he's a secret gamer who loves games.
That's right.
Apparently.
And Deadly Premonition 2. What is that, a new Deadly Premonition game? What is that?
It is a new Deadly Premonition game. Deadly Premonition is a series. I guess it is actually a series now. Directed by Swery? Is that how you say?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Swery 5-1, right?
Or isn't that Suda 5-1? That's
Suda. That's Suda 5-1. He's got a different number, right? Swery. I'm looking it up.
65,
keep telling
65,
me about it.
65. I think that's what Google like autocomplete is telling me.
Yeah, that's right.
So Deadly Premonition is a game where it's like a survival horror type game that my memory of it is that people like posting videos and stuff being like, this game is crazy, and like crazy in a like funny way, but it must have some real like fans, like some real appreciation, because there is a sequel. So that's like all I can speak that's all I can speak to it on. Like, I've never played the first game. I know basically nothing about it, except it's kind of like, I remember people saying that it like reminded them of Twin Peaks, where it was like, like could like be really kind of like funny and weird one moment, but then really dark the next. But that's basically all I've picked up.
Why do I associate this game with you? Like, why is there a similar like spooky camera game that is a game that you're attached to?
A spooky camera game.
A spooky camera.
Does Deadly Premonition involve a spooky camera?
I don't know. This is so. I am just. That's like what my brain. Are you just googling spooky camera right now?
No, because Fatal Frame. Are you thinking of Fatal Frame?
I might be thinking of Fatal Frame.
Basically, we should stop talking about Deadly Premonition because neither of us know anything about it.
We know Sweary 65. We got that.
Yeah, but we had to Google that part.
Yeah, we sure did. All right, Mark, let's close out the new releases. Now it's time for a regular segment on our show. It's time for 433. In 1952, American composer John Cage wrote a piece called 433, wherein a performer or a group of performers didn't play their instruments for 4 minutes and 33 seconds. For the purposes of this show, our instruments are talking about Nintendo. So, for the duration of one performance of 433, Mark and I will talk about something not at all Nintendo related, thus fulfilling the contract of the piece. Mark, today, because we have just experienced them, we are talking about fireworks. Obviously, well, maybe not obviously. It's seemingly in Los Angeles. Everyone in the city of Los Angeles was setting off fireworks. Fireworks are illegal in the city, but that didn't stop everyone from setting them off all night on the 4th of July. How was your experience of that, first of all?
Yeah, it was all over the place. Like the building next to me, people were setting them off from the roof, and yeah, we looked out the window and it's just like the entire skyline just all around us was just fireworks all night. Which like on the one hand you're like, wow, that's like pretty and cool, but on the other hand you're like, where is everybody getting these fireworks from?
It seems it's wild, man. And then the next day, Los Angeles had like the worst air quality in the country because it just filled with fireworks
filled with
sulfur.
smoke. I have to admit, it did leave me feeling like a tiny bit left out because it's like clearly everybody knows where to get fireworks except for me. How come I don't have a firework contact?
I mean, I think you just like go to Nevada, right? Like you can just buy them.
No, there's no way all these people just like went to Nevada.
Oh, okay, all right. I see what you're saying. Or like down to Mexico.
No, I just don't believe it.
You think there's someone local? Okay.
I think there's like a contact, like somebody I should know that like I could be like, hey, do you know where I could get some fireworks? Actually, stop. Maybe that's the first step is just asking people, hey, do you know where I should get some fireworks?
Right. This is a question that you've never asked before. So if you know where we can get some fireworks, please write into us at Nintendo Cartridge Society at gmail.com. Mark, what is your relationship with fireworks growing up? Were you a family that like would get fireworks? Would you go to fireworks? Like what was your relationship to them growing up?
We were more like a go-to fireworks type family. We would get fireworks, and like I loved fireworks. I loved putting on my own little like fireworks show when I could. But we never like it was never like we never bought like the huge like really extravagant ones. We'd get like one of the small boxes, set a couple off in the street, and then that was pretty much it. How about you guys?
No, not at all. So my family basically never had fireworks in the house. We would get sparklers at most, and even that was usually like my mom didn't like them, so like I think we like played with them at friends' houses and stuff like that. I remember going on there was a family that we would vacation with up at their cabin in the woods in Wisconsin, and the dad of that family would set off fireworks, and one time set off something very loud, and it frightened my little brother, who was just a wee baby at the time, and he was so mad that he said to this friend's dad, someday I'm going to be big and you're going to be small, and I'm going to set off fireworks and scare you. It's a great Jack story. But yeah, so even now, like I don't have, like we would go obviously to the like the town's 4th of July fireworks show. But like I don't see like fireworks to me are not like a thing that an individual person does, right? Like that's in my mind. It's like, no, you leave that to the professionals or like Disney or the city or
Yeah.
something.
I've become totally jaded with fireworks as well, cuz like of course like now as an adult I wish that I still like loved fireworks and wanted to, but like now I don't want to. And so it's like a wasted opportunity cuz in theory I could find my own fireworks contact and get hooked up, and but that joie de
We're getting
vivre
there. We're
has just
getting
like
there.
left
We
me.
put out the
Yeah.
call for the email.
But now I wouldn't even know what to do with it. Like I would feel bad because like
Right.
it'd be like, but the like I'm not supposed to. And what if I like set something on fire? You know?
Yeah. What would you do? I also just like the idea of playing at warfare and like creating these sights and sounds of like bombing. Like it's, it is like literally to reenact the part of the Star Spangled Banner where we can still see that the flag is flying above the fort because there are explosions in the sky. All of that, I'm like, I hate how much we worship war.
I mean, I guess I think that's fair. That's probably like the origin of why we do them on the 4th of July. But I feel like Christmas, it has lost all meaning. Like now we're just doing it. It's just an excuse. Like the 4th of July is just an excuse to like set off fireworks.
That's true. Just an excuse to make some noise,
Yeah.
see some lights. Well, I guess we reached a nice natural end to that conversation. We were accompanied today by by an ensemble at the Musical Instrument Museum in Phoenix. All right, Mark, let's get into the news.
All right. So at the top of the show, or at least at the top of the news here, we're going to be talking about stuff that's a little bit heavier than what we usually cover. But there's a lot that has been going on in the video game industry recently, involving like sexual misconduct.
Sexual misconduct.
Yeah.
And just general like bullying too in the games industry and in a lot of industries actually. A lot of people abusing power and a lot of people being outed as abusers of power or as grooming people who are newer to those industries, or just a lot of kind of icky people taking advantage of people who aren't able to defend themselves.
Exactly. And so EVO Online has been canceled. Last week, a number of allegations of sexual abuse by Joey, how would you say this, Queller?
Yeah, I believe so.
Surfaced starting on Twitter. At the time, Queller was president of EVO, but less than 24 hours after these allegations started surfacing, several of EVO's partners publicly pulled their support for the fighting game competition, including Capcom, NetherRealm, Bandai Namco, and Nintendo, all making statements. Here's what EVO said. They said, over the past 24 hours, in response to serious allegations recently made public on Twitter, we have made the first of a series of important decisions regarding the future of our company. Effective immediately, Joey Queller will no longer be involved with EVO in any capacity. We are currently working towards his complete separation from the company and have relieved him of all his responsibilities. Going forward, Tony Cannon will act as CEO. In this position, he will take a leadership role in prioritizing greater accountability across EVO, both internally and at our events. Progress doesn't happen overnight or without the bravery of those who speak up against misconduct and injustice. We are shocked and saddened by these events, but we are listening and committed to making every change that will be necessary in making EVO a better model for the stronger, safer culture we all seek. As a result, we will be canceling EVO Online and will work to issue refunds for all players who chose to purchase the badge. We will donate the equivalent of the proceeds as promised to Project Hope.
So huge and like fast response from EVO and a lot of their partners. Like it was as it was happening so fast that like allegations were coming to light and people were supporting them with witness evidence and that quickly turned into the companies pulling their support. Capcom, NetherRealm were among the first to do so, saying like, well, look, if you're going to be if this event is going to be associated with this monster, you can't play Mortal Kombat at the event, as they are right to do. And yeah, it was within 24 hours that Evo started to put the wheels in motion to fully separate themselves from Queller, and sort of make this statement, which is a good one. But I think it gets to the sort of, I don't know, like the fighting game community is such like a Wild West sort of scenario, where it's just like it's pulled together in hotel conference rooms and like ballrooms and stuff, and it's one of those scenarios where like there was no real organization for it, and so the organization just sprung up around the people who like to play, and it just like so many scenes, like the improv comedy scene is a good example, where it's just like these aren't the people who should be like in charge of other people's safety, right? Like that's not a real priority for someone that just wants to score a good combo in Marvel versus Capcom, or someone who just wants to make someone laugh on stage. So like it's one of those things where like the adults were never in the room, if that's what makes if that makes sense, and which isn't to excuse anything. It's sort of like it's just diagnosing the problem is none of these people were felt like they needed to be the authority to make sure that people weren't being taken advantage of, and then people were.
Right, exactly, because it's, and like to that point, it's like the people who were in positions of like seemingly authority were taking advantage of other people, were like sexually abusing other people.
Totally.
And I don't know, it's so I feel like this past week, it was a tough week to be like, to want to associate yourself with video games. You know what I mean? Where in the sense where it's just like as like more and look, video games, the video game community at large, what it has been like so toxic for so long now. But like as more and more of these allegations come out, you just realized how you continue to realize how pervasive these problems are, and how many people's lives and livelihoods were like affected and like inalterably changed, or like like they will never get that time or that experience back. And I don't know, it was just like, as you're like reading more and more of this, it's just like, oh man, like you don't want to okay, this is kind of what I feel like a little bit like it's like is like J.K. Rowling with Harry Potter, right? Where we've talked about on Harry Potter about on this show before. Like I think we both like Harry Potter, but it's like, man, J.K. Rowling has just really proven herself to be kind of like a horrible person with her views on trans people. And it is just like, I feel like with books it's a little bit easier to divorce like the text from the author, but with like video games, I don't know, because sometimes even the text, you're like, this kind of sucks.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, like the all of this, because this is also something that happened in the comics industry too, like kind of a week before everything started coming out within the video games and like the video game press sort of world. It was happening a lot in comic books. And in particular, one of the people called out for having been an abuser and frequent groomer of new talent is Warren Ellis. And we've covered his Netflix show, Castlevania, on this show multiple times, three different episodes that we've done with our friend Colin J. Morris. And it like kind of makes me sick to think that we have promoted his work in any way or like directed eyes towards it. We've taken those episodes down now because we don't want to, we don't want to amplify that voice, right? That voice has been amplified too much. It has been too much like a center of the conversation. And I think that's probably what's happening in in video games and in the fighting game community as well, that like the people who weasel themselves into these positions of power have been abusing them and then driving the, whatever the main conversation is, to be in favor of people that can take advantage of people. And it's just like, it's the sort of thing where, like in comics, there's it's called BarCon, right? It is where the real convention happens for the creators at the bar after the convention, right? That's where you do all of your networking. That's where you meet people. That's where you make connections. And that's also where people are drinking too much. People are awkward. People are, buying each other drinks and getting inappropriate. And have never been to a fighting game competition, but I am sure that stuff happens there. And like, I think about when I was a kid and playing, my entirety of junior high school for me was Magic the Gathering. It was the first thing I thought about when I woke up, and it was the last thing I was thinking about when I went to sleep. Every other problem in my life, I thought of through the lens of Magic the Gathering, which means I spent a lot of time at the card shops in my hometown, Rockheads and Chadwick's, and in both places there were always like adult men playing Magic with us, and some of those guys were good guys as far as I know, but like, these are adults and they're spending their time with a 12 or 13-year-old, and you don't know what any of these guys is capable of, and like, your parents aren't staying like at the card shop with you, so like, there's and who's going to protect me in that scenario if the creepy 40-year-old wants to like take advantage of me when I'm 12 or 13? The 20-year-old working the counter at the card store, like, no, it's another. There are just so many examples of like these communities that build up with no guardrails in place to protect people that need protection. And I think we're seeing a lot of those organizations realizing that those are the communities that they've helped create, and that they need to support those communities, not just provide a space for them to run wild.
Yeah. I mean, to your, point, so in addition to all these reports concerning EVO, there were a number of other reports of sexual misconduct in the fighting community, specifically around like the Smash Brothers community. And in these cases, and in the case with Queller at EVO, like, victims were frequently minors at the time of the abuse. So I'm at a loss what to say is just like, I feel like I don't know. Everybody needs to do better. Like, right? Like, you have like, everybody has like a responsibility to just do better, to like say something, to, I don't know. I don't really have anything intelligent to add, just that it's just like all so horrible.
Yeah, and I mean, that's that is part of what makes this tough for us to talk about, because you and I like to devolve into being wacky and making jokes, and this is really not like a place for it. But like, I really do think that there's a lot that we sort of like take for granted or accept as normal because like other people are saying it's normal. If you've got a kid that is going to Smash Brothers, events, keep tabs on what's happening there. If you are in those communities and you see someone do, like you said, Mark, if you see something, like, say something. It's not a scenario where like you should be going along to get along, right? Like, remember that even those events, even when there's a bar, even when it's all weekend long and it's a big party, that like there are still rules and there's still right and wrong and people can still get hurt. Yeah, I mean, I think your comment of like, you just need to be better and more observant and more vigilant, and we can make those spaces safe for the people who want to be in them and have a good time.
So, okay. So we've talking about that part, and now again, like with Sonic Forces, I have no good transition into, now we're going to just be talking about the other stuff that we would normally cover on the show. Starting with,
it's good. It's good. We did it. Let's move in. We'll do another transition. Now let's get into the fun news.
Okay, so after being closed for the last 3 months due to COVID-19, the North American Nintendo online store is once again selling physical products. Now, I always forget that this exists. But this is where if you wanted to get like Splatoon sweatshirts and like that kind of stuff, they, believe it or not, they sell them on the Nintendo of America online store.
They also sell hardware and games too.
What?
Like you can go, yeah.
I didn't know you could buy games.
Yeah, you can definitely buy games. I believe you can even buy digital codes, and hardware for sure. You can buy some like Pro controllers are up there now. Of course, just like everywhere else in the world, Switches themselves are in pretty low supply, as are Joy-Cons. Just can't get them there. Although they do have like the product listing for a refurbished, probably first generation Switch for like $269 or maybe $249. It's somewhere. It's cheaper than normal. But of course they are sold out.
Wait. You can really buy, you can buy physical copies of games from the Nintendo online
Yes.
store? Wow.
Yeah.
That's wow. All right. Okay, cool. We were just talking about Doom Eternal coming to Switch.
That's right. We were
like a week or so ago, and we don't have a release date yet. But it turns out that we might not have to wait too long before we find out that release date. In an interview with Game Reactor, I wasn't sure.
No, it's very funny. It's very funny that it's like we may have news. The news item is we may know when a game, we may be closer to knowing when a game is going to come out.
I mean, this one is exciting to me. I loved Doom 2016 on Switch. I had a blast playing it, and I'm very excited for Doom Eternal to come out on Switch. But yeah, no release date yet. In an interview with Game Reactor, developer Marty Stratton said that the release date would be shared, quote, pretty soon, and that the quality of the port is, quote, every bit as good as Doom 2016 was, which is exciting to me.
Yeah, I feel like that's the more exciting bit is, although what's he going to say? Like, yeah, it's not as good as...
Here's the question, like, do I, like, feeling a little bit burned by Outer Worlds, do I wait for reviews? I mean, yes, actually, I'm saying this out loud, and I was going to say, do I wait for reviews to, like, see if it's a good port? And yes, the answer is yes, I do wait. Because why not? Why not?
Yeah, you got nothing to lose. What, like a day with the game? Come on.
Hey, speaking of like announcements that may or may not be coming soon, when are we going to get the next big Nintendo Direct? We had a Nintendo Direct Mini back in March, I think, or April. Was it April? And nothing since then. We, of course, didn't get one in June around E3. But according to Nintendo President Shintaro Furukawa, maybe never.
Maybe we never get one.
At the 80th annual general meeting of the shareholders, Furukawa addressed the lack of a June Direct by saying, quote, in the annual shareholders meetings, we have routinely shown a video of E3, which was usually held just before the meeting. But this year, none of the large industry events are being held because of COVID-19, not just E3, and Nintendo also has no plans for any such events. We intend to use other methods flexibly in order to deliver the latest information on our products, so please stay tuned. We have continuously released information, including the announcement of a new fighter for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate for Nintendo Switch, and the announcement by the Pokémon Company of new Pokémon-related titles. We think the Nintendo Direct format is very effective for us to directly and clearly convey information about games to consumers. On the other hand, as the times change, the most effective ways of conveying information can also change. So I think we should always be looking for the best ways of communicating.
What does that mean? What, I mean, is he saying anything, or is he just backed into a situation where he like doesn't know that Nintendo doesn't know when they're going to do another Direct, and he's like, I don't know, maybe we just never do them?
I think they have plans, and whether those like plans actually end up coming, and I don't know if they're immediate plans, but I'm sure they are like figuring out how they're going to if they, I think last week we talked about him also saying that games that were planned for this fiscal year are at this point still planned for this fiscal year. So they, whether it's a Nintendo Direct or something else, they must be thinking of how they're going to announce and like market those games. But I also think, like we kind of talked about on Thursday, that like as weird as it is to say, like, yeah, Nintendo Directs probably won't be around forever, and maybe some sort of presentation will replace them, or maybe like they won't. It's hard to say because Nintendo is not really beholden to the past.
It's also interesting because, like, unless there is a lot of information, right? Unless there are a lot of announcements, a lot of first party Nintendo games, or like some meaty, like exclusives or something like that, a direct always feels a little bit lacking, especially as like the personality has been kind of stripped away from them. You know, we're not going to see the same sort of like theatrics that we used to. We're not going to see Muppet, Reggie again, not just because Reggie doesn't work there anymore, but like we're not going to see that sort of thing again. Like they've really streamlined it, and like what we've seen the last couple of years has been good, but it's also very specific, right? Like it only works when they have a shotgun full of games to fire in your face. When it's only like a game or two or like three, it's not really enough to justify a full-blown presentation, which might be something that we love and we love talking about. But yeah, like, if really all they had was like the Smash DLC and like Paper Mario, like that's not a big enough set of announcements to put in like a big long video and tell us that it's a Nintendo Direct. So I think in some ways they're probably managing expectations on this. And we'll get another Direct someday. It'll have a bunch of games in it. We'll find out about it on Tuesday and it'll come out on Thursday. I'm like, that's it.
I will say that, like, within the past week, rumors have started to fly online that Nintendo is working on something for July. Not necessarily a Direct, and not necessarily true, but that's just what the rumors are saying, is that something is in the works. And I believe it because, again, if we basically don't know anything that's coming out after the Origami King, and of course, like, Nintendo could drop a trailer at the beginning of August, and a new game could be out like in the middle of September. So they don't necessarily need a ton of lead time on these things, but I do think that like like you were saying, it's an inevitability that some sort of announcements are on their way.
I would also be willing to believe that they are waiting to say anything about any new Mario games or any ports of older Mario games, which have been rumored, until after Origami King is out, until after people who have been starved for new Mario are like, Paper Mario is close enough, I'll just get that. And then the announcement that, oh yeah, Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 is coming out on Switch, like that. From a marketing angle, makes sense to me.
Do you know? Now that you said that, one of the saddest things I realized in the rumors of the 3D Mario remasters is that Galaxy 2 is not rumored. That is just Galaxy 1. Which, like, I love Galaxy 1, but like, give me both.
It's Galaxy. The 2 is the superior Galaxy game. It is the better game. The first one is more novel, and like having the sort of like open world hub is more fun, but like streamlining it to this like like world map thing for the second one, fine, totally functional, way more content, super fun. Yoshi's in it. Like, man, the second one's so good.
They also meld in my mind so much. Like, they're kind of just like one big game. But I mean, look at us. Like, we're complaining about unannounced games that like will be great on their own, but that's just what we do.
We don't need a Direct.
At the same meeting, Furukawa spoke about the state of the Switch in its 4th year, saying the momentum on the platform is increasing, noting the 2 models of Switch and the consolidation of development teams, like no longer having to support a handheld system and a console separately. He added, quote, "We want to extend the life cycle of Nintendo Switch while maximizing such advantages." Which they've talked about a lot, is just like the Nintendo Switch having a long life cycle. Director and Senior Executive Officer Ko Shioda added, quote, "Through Nintendo Switch, we've made many discoveries about where a dedicated video game platform can fit into a consumer's daily life. We see scenes on social media of children and their families sitting around a video game console to play, which gives us a renewed sense of the value of our dedicated video game platform. We will utilize these experiences in carefully considering the form our future game consoles will take."
So that, I think, is the most interesting part of this, that especially like the shout out to social media is an interesting, and like maybe that's just like that's how we're seeing it. But I wonder if there's any thought like within Nintendo towards like increasing their connectivity, either like with the existing social platforms or improving like Nintendo's like kind of social networks, or even just like improving the online infrastructure at all so that like it can be a functional online piece of hardware. It's a very interesting piece of it to call out.
Totally. And it makes me think that, you know how Nintendo was working on those quality of life products for
Yeah.
a long time, and we didn't really see a lot of fruit of those labors. But Nintendo, if you, I was thinking about what you're saying about social media, and I was thinking about you wanting to improve people's quality of life. And so here's my pitch to you: buy Twitter and then shut it down. Do us all a
Perfect.
favor. Give us our miserable lives back and really improve our
Mark,
quality of life.
I have not been on Twitter since Wednesday. Thursday morning I woke up and was like, I'm gonna spend all day not on Twitter. Which, look, man, it has been bad for me since years, but like extra bad since the pandemic started, and like to the point where I'm like, I know my brain chemistry has been forever altered, and so I went all of Thursday, started going through Friday, like halfway through Friday. I deleted the Twitter app from my phone. I've only been on Facebook to do the Sunday night trivia contest that my buddy Drew hosts on Facebook, but other than that, I haven't been on any of them, or Instagram, or Reddit. I've been off all four for 5 days now, and man, I feel great. I mean, I'm still stuck in my house.
Yeah, no,
and all that, but it's good.
I'm totally with you. I believe everybody's quality of life would be improved if like we just stopped using Twitter. What a dream, and Facebook. What a dream that would be. Niantic has announced Pokemon Go Fest 2020, which is a twist on the usual destination event they've held in the past. Pokemon trainers all around the world will be able to participate in the fest on July 25th and 26th from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Tickets to the event are $15. It will have
now this is funny though, because normally it's a ticketed event because they are holding it in a physical location, like they did one in Chicago in Millennium Park, where they like, I guess you can't rent out the whole park, but like where it's a specific destination, so they could sell tickets to that. But now it's just kind of like you buy a ticket so you can participate wherever you are in the world.
But yeah, so they're charging $15, and for that you get increased encounters, rotating habitats based on water, fire, grass, fighting, and friendship, global challenge arenas, special research, virtual team lounges. They're even selling merchandise. You can get t-shirts with Pokemon Go Fest 2020 artwork. And like also Ryan Johnson directed the trailer for Pokemon Go Fest 2020.
First of all, I love that there is a trailer for Pokemon Go Fest 2020. Like even that on its own is worthy of making our news lineup. But also Ryan Johnson, director of Knives Out and The Last Jedi, directed this trailer. And it's a cool trailer. Did you watch it, Mark?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
It's people like, in the real world, and they like kind of grab on to like a piece of reality and like tear it. And there's like a rip in space and time. And on the other side of this rip in space and time, there's a Pokemon back there.
That sounds fun.
It's great.
And here's like another great thing about it. Following Pokemon Go Fest 2020, the Pokemon Company and Niantic will be donating $5 million to nonprofits supporting the Black community.
So good on you, Pokemon Go, for making so much money that you can donate $5 million.
And finally, we talked last week about, and we forgot to mention it this weekend, what we've been playing, because I've just been making a habit of like, I do or don't do Ring Fit Adventure, and then I do like Jump Rope Challenge right after that. But anyways, there's new DLC available for Jump Rope Challenge. It's an update to the game that includes some new features like the ability to double jump. You can increased your maximum jump goal to 3,000. You get 6.
Which is madness. That is 3,000? That's so many jump ropes.
And then 6 new background images, plus 12 new character-themed costumes for your jumping rabbit. You get Mario, Luigi, Peach, Bowser, Toad, and Wario. You get Link, Samus, Isabelle, Inkling Boy, and Inkling Girl, which is fun.
Yeah, cool additions. Very Smash Brothers-y.
But then, by popular demand, the greatest synergy of all time, the Arcade Bunny from Nintendo Badge Arcade is now a costume for the Jump Rope Challenge bunny.
Did we somehow will this into existence? Who else on this planet talks about Nintendo Badge Arcade but you and I?
I think this is a great sign that, because look, we know the Nintendo doesn't talk about the Virtual Boy. There's no Virtual Boy costume for this rabbit here. But I think this is a good sign that Nintendo Badge Arcade lives. And look, I'm not excited for Nintendo Badge Arcade. I think that means that there's a chance for Arcade Bunny to show up in more and more things.
Hey, look, if the first character of the new DLC set is Min Min, that means obviously they're all going to be Nintendo characters from here on out, which means it is Arcade Bunny's time to shine in Smash Brothers. How cool would that be?
I would buy. I was gonna say that I would buy the fighter pack too, but then I was like, or would I just buy that fighter pack? I'd love to see the Nintendo Badge Arcade level. I'd love to see the Nintendo Badge Arcade music. Like, give it to me.
Oh man, if he summons down like a claw machine to like mess people up, it'd be so good. Well, we're never gonna get that, but we are going to get. We do currently have the bunny. Have you downloaded the new stuff for it yet?
I think it downloaded automatically to my system, but I haven't opened it up yet. Yeah.
Yeah, I have not opened it up either. I'm very excited also about the ability to do the double jump, because that is something that every now and then when I'm doing the jump rope challenge that I want to do, and then I just remember that it messes everything up when you try. But now it'll be like actually jumping rope, except I'll be able to do a double jump. All right, Mark, let's get out of the news. All right, that is going to do it for this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society. Remember, please rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts. If you like the episode, please share it on Facebook or Twitter or anywhere where you don't have to be on social media to share something. I mean, my God, call someone that you like and talk to them for a little bit. Recommend the podcast. You can follow us on Twitter, although I haven't been on it in a couple days. I'm at Patrick_Ellers. Mark is at MKE Mitchell, and the show is at NinCart Society. There's also a Facebook page, but who cares? Olivia Duncan made our logo. Our theme music is provided by 8-Bit Betty. You can get more of his music by going to 8bitbetty.com or by listening right now. For my co-host, Mark Mitchell, this is Patrick Ellers saying, now Rusty Slugger is next. And thanks for listening.
Hey, Rachel, Oscar.
Yeah, Claire?
Do you love Disney movies?
Uh-huh.
Have you seen them all?
Not all of them.
What do you guys think if we watch them all in chronological order and then talk about them?
Ooh. Oh, and what if we can talk about it with some of our favorite friends?
I love that.
Yeah, what if we do it inside the Disney Vault?
You know, that's the name of our podcast, Inside the Disney Vault on Campfire Media.
Yeah, check us out on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to yours.
That's Inside the Disney Vault.
Let's go!
Woo!
Campfire.